Hi everybody, hope you're having a good weekend. So we continue the journey. In this video we are going to finish up the Fly LED wiring, and I'll show you some pictures at the end of how just blistering bright these things are. Again, it just comes down to making sure the wiring is all right. As you know, I run 18 gauge wires for all the lights, just in case, the LEDs weren't going to work and I needed to put out something with some extreme power. I wanted to have the copper in place to carry the power. But a long time ago, we had put in the control panel for the Fly LEDs, right? The thing is, I had made the connector, but it was a god-awful ugly thing, using huge different types of connectors, because I thought, oh, I'll be cute, and only the left tail will have a 4-blade connector that's straight, and then this other wing will have one that's square, that's a 2x2 connector, and this one, no. I didn't like it. It wasn't doing it for me, so we're remaking it here. Couple of reasons. One of the wires was a little bit tight, so I wanted to give it a little bit of extra slack. And two, and I know you're going to be shocked by this, there was a wire that was wrong. Actually, two. And the real problem is doing D-sub pins and 18 gauge wires don't really mix. You can't really get an 18 gauge wire into a D-sub pin. I don't care what kind of magic you use. You have to remove some of the strands from your wire to fit it into the pin. And because of that, removing the pins is almost impossible. Because the pin removal tool is based on like size 20 wire, not 18. So you can't even get it around it. And you've got to be able to get it around the end of the wire and actually push that tool into the D-sub connector. And you can't do that when the wires are big. So I thought, you know what? Let's just remake one. So much easier. I still stand by my location of putting it underneath the pilot seat. Saves a lot of wire, and I didn't have to worry about shoving that thing up in the sub panel, because the only place that I would be able to put it would either really crowd up the sub panel, or I'd have to wind up putting it behind the sub panel, which means I'd have to take off an accessory panel. The ultimate thing is I'd have to take something off to get to it eventually, right? So I thought, you know what, let's put it underneath the seat. All the wires come to this location anyway, and it's all good. All right, and with that in place, so that the lighting is in the wingtips on both wings, and that's all happy. And I had temporarily hooked up the wires already. Even though we haven't finished the wing wiring, I had made the not D-sub, but Molex pins. I had made the Molex pins and sort of pre-connected them to test. Let's go ahead and show you a couple pictures of that. Here's the hangar at night. Look how cool that is. Here's a direct picture of both the nav lights and the strobes going. Caution, may cause seizures. Look at that. Look at that. It's freaking awesome. Now, the one thing is the tail light isn't hooked up. We will be doing that in a later video. But yeah, Fly LEDs, done, off the list. So, now that we're done with that, we're jumping straight into the elevator fairings. Again, something we haven't touched in probably 4 years. Last time we worked with these, we had epoxied in little washers on the inside of the fairings, so that when you pop rivet these things on, the pop rivets have some metal to grab onto and not the fiberglass. Now that it's actually time to attach them, we're going and countersinking all the holes so that they will fit. You can see I'm holding it very tight with my fingers. That is so that there's no flexing in the fiberglass, because God forbid one of those little washers could pop off. Now, real quick lesson for everybody while I'm sitting here dimpling. If you've got the washers epoxied onto your fairings as you want them to use it for the strength option, that's great. Let me go ahead and tell you what you need to do, because it's not what I'm doing, is you need to halfway set all of the pop rivets. Now, I will explain this in the next video, but just trust me, if you don't want washers rattling around forever, half set them. We'll go into that later. Basically, you have to secure all the washers halfway to make sure they don't flop around, because as you pop a rivet, it's a big vibration, and it can jar a washer loose. Ask me how I know. So, in the next video, I'll go over all that. Hope you're having a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining me. See you soon.